Hello, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. Wherever you are in this world, I wish you well. Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Raven podcast. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea and let's get cozy. Patience is defined as exhibiting the capacity, habit, or fact of being patient, such as having the ability to accept obstacles or delays in a calm and self-possessed way. It is the ability to act with calm or restraint under provocation or strain, and the ability to persevere over a long period of time despite opposition, difficulty, or adversity. Painting is defined as a visual art characterized by the practice of applying paint, pigment, color, or other medium to a solid surface. Painting is something that takes skill and patience, and at times, it can be quite meditative. I would not call myself an artist by any means. Growing up, I enjoyed arts and crafts, but I did not always have a paintbrush in my hand. It wasn't until adulthood that I began engaging in that creative endeavor. I began by crafting angel portraits and have since created crystal grids, paintings involving spiritual symbols and stones. Those stones are glued to the canvas so that the paintings can be hung up. But this past weekend, I wanted to try something a little different. Something a little more complex for my skill set. Paint by number. Now, you may think painting by number is rather simple, easy even, not complex. I would agree, mostly. It depends on the painting you choose to paint. For weeks, I've been wanting to paint something, but nothing came to mind. I've thought about searching for an image online that I could try to copy in my own way, but it didn't pull at my creativity strings enough to do that. I don't recall how it specifically came to me, but I remember suddenly feeling the urge to do a paint-by-number painting. And I just so happened to see an ad for that exact thing, and the urge became stronger. So I drove myself over to Michael's craft store and perused their paint section. I took my time. There must have been around 50 to choose from, and in multiple sizes. And I didn't want to just grab any one. After all, I am a mystical, magical, spiritual girly, and when it comes to decor, that is the vibe I gravitate towards. After a solid 15-20 minutes, I picked out two. One is bigger than the other, but they both have that mystical aura to them. And I noticed something as I started painting the smaller one. Not only was I focused, but I was calm. I didn't have any qualms or barriers about how quickly I would paint this image. I was painting it just to paint it. It very quickly became a meditative experience. And I don't recall if I had encountered that before. I probably have, but not at this level. I became entranced, enspelled even, and I was enjoying the process. And let me tell you, that process took about 6 hours to complete. And in the end, I had painted a colorful mushroom forest. It's magical and adds a bit of whimsy to my room, that's for sure. And I am already on to the second one. It's much bigger and far more detailed. The sections that are to be painted are small enough that I need a magnifying glass to look through as I create this beautiful woodland scene. I am already 7 to 10 hours into it, and I have lost count. I imagine it will take anywhere from 24 to 30 hours to complete. But I am enjoying this process of creation. I don't feel that urge to rush through it. And if you are interested in seeing what I've created, check out my YouTube channel or TikTok profile. I will put the links to my social media accounts in the description box of this episode. I created a video showcasing the first painting, and I will post another of the second one I'm working on once it's complete. I know I have repeated myself with the words, "I no longer rush." But I have not always been a patient individual. Growing up, I used to say I got my impatience from my mother. However, back around 2016, I received my first astrology reading. I believe we were discussing something about the first house in my astrology chart, and I exclaimed that I get my impatience from my mother. And she corrected me and said, "Actually, it's because Saturn is in your first house, and that restricts the self in a lot of ways." And she continued to say that as I get older, Saturn's influence would drastically decrease. And so far, I have found that to be true. I am far more patient now than I was back then. Whether it is Saturn's waning influence or just a combination of all the lessons I have learned along the way, I don't feel the need to limit myself as much as I used to. I don't feel the need to hurry myself along as much. I don't feel the need to be irritated by things out of my control as much either. I allow myself to be present, relaxed, and I let go more than I ever have before. And I allow experiences to be enjoyed. I think when you are engaging in an activity that allows for you to be fully present, time passes by differently, oftentimes more quickly. And it gives space to your mental mind. And in this space is also where I feel patience can creep in. Now, you can really only learn patience by going through a situation that calls for it. And usually that means a situation that is frustrating. But when you practice being present enough, you learn how to flip that switch, so to speak, and more easily choose to be patient rather than irritable or restless. Because how you react and respond to things is a choice, conscious or not. Now, prior to the engaging activity, if you were overthinking about this, that, and everything, once you allow yourself to focus on the task at hand, your mind can breathe. The tension in your body begins to drop, and a wave of serenity can wash over you. And it's that moment of mindfulness that can lend itself to a form of meditation. Most people, when hearing or seeing the words meditate or meditation, automatically think it means you need to shut off your brain, that you are supposed to get to a place in your mind where it is purely silent, and if a thought enters, then you're doing it wrong. But that simply isn't the case. Mindfulness and meditation go hand in hand. Mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing your awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting your feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. It's often considered and used as a therapeutic technique. And I would agree. Meditation gives you the opportunity to focus and be mindful while not holding any attachment to anything. So if you find yourself working on a project that does require a good amount of focus, you may still find that random thoughts enter your mind. But you're able to see those thoughts and let them pass, and therefore continue the task at hand. And after a time, you may begin to enjoy it. Being present gives you the chance to slow down. Your nervous system can start to reset. And if you're consciously choosing to reset your nervous system through mindfulness, then you will become aware of the physiological changes happening within your body in that moment. Mindfulness practice induces structural changes in the brain. It reduces cortisol levels and improves emotional regulation, cognitive function, and resilience against stress. This positively impacts both mental and physical health. I admit that other than feeling a sense of overall calm, I have not been consciously aware of any physical changes happening within my body as I paint. Mentally and emotionally, I am at ease. Physically is another story, but that is probably because my setup is not conducive to the activity at hand. I am not working with an easel because the canvas is quite thin and not attached to a canvas board. And I've been painting a bit hunched over because the table I'm using is lower than what would be considered ergonomically correct. But it's all good because I am happy with this process. And I am looking forward to the end result. I hope that you allow yourself to perform in activities that can bring a sense of calm and relaxation. Or, at the very least, put you in a state of awareness where you are solely being mindful about whatever it is that you're doing. Human minds run 100 miles a minute for the majority of our waking life. And it would be nice to interrupt that anxious programming with a bit of, let's be here, right this minute, right now, and see where that takes you. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I appreciate you taking the time to share this space with me. If this has resonated with you, please take a second to follow or subscribe, leave a review or comment, or share this with someone who may be venturing down a spiritual path and has a hunger to learn and grow. I will see you next time. Stay cozy and take care.